The very first thing that I should do in this video is dispel the myth that poaching and trophy hunting are the same and that they both threaten conservation. In the modern world, poaching is the threat. Back in the 1960s, white rhinos numbered as low as 30, but since the intervention of Dr. Ian Player, the population today is roughly 18,000 worldwide. However, in 2014, about 6 years ago, white rhino populations were at 20,000. During the time of Dr. Ian Player's Operation Rhino, hunting had just been banned in Kenya, which was formerly the major game hunting destination in Africa. But since Kenya's hunting ban, the wildlife has decreased. This is owing to a combination of the profitability of keeping livestock and poaching of these wild animals, as game owners don't have the funds that could be acquired from licensed hunting. Since 2008, poaching of all rhino species has increased, and this was when the international trade in rhino horn had a complete ban. Why is rhino horn so desired? In Chinese traditional medicine, it is widely believed that rhino horn is a panacea. It can allegedly cure cancer, impotence, gout, rheumatism, and now coronavirus. And there's no scientific evidence to support the notion that it can cure anything. Rhino horn is simply made of keratin, which is the same substance as our hair and our fingernails. As well as the alleged medicine, it's considered a status symbol among certain rich circles, those that are facilitating the trade in rhino horn. A kilogram of rhino horn is roughly valued at about $17,000, which rivals the value of cocaine on the black market depending on its stage of distribution. The horn, in its powdered form, is added to drinks in business meetings of the super rich, these particular circles, to show off how rich the host is. And how do poachers acquire rhino horn? Corruption often takes place, and trespassing is by no means impossible. When poachers come across a rhino, it would be typical for them to shoot it just enough to injure it, since many firearms would struggle to kill a rhino, and they will then use a machete to hack into the spine of the injured rhino to disable it, and this machete is then used to cut through the rhino's face, and during this the rhino will be fully conscious and they're left to bleed out while the poachers simply abscond with the horn. And in areas with police corruption, it can be very easy to get away with this. To prevent rhino poaching, private game reserves will have to employ an anti-poaching unit and dehorn their rhinos. The process of removing a rhino horn does not have to be fatal or even harmful for that matter. The horn is made of keratin, so it can be trimmed much like human hair or fingernails. As you can see on these white rhino, the horn does grow back, and there is no scientific evidence to suggest that horn trimming affects their behaviour in any way. The process is expensive, however some rhino charities, like Rhino 911, take a very proactive approach to rhino conservation and take part in horn trimmings by darting rhinos, reducing the cost of this process. National parks, on the other hand, are virtually defenceless. They do not employ anti-poaching patrols because the cost of fuel and staff would be much higher, and also foot patrols would be too dangerous with the large predators like lions and hyenas roaming about the park. Nor do they do horn trimming. As you can see on this black rhino, the horns look very dramatic, and if they were to be removed there might be some initial outcry from the public. Alongside this, dehorning is chiefly effective with anti-poaching patrols in place, since there still needs to be a small amount of horn left for the regrowth. The risk for such a small amount of this substance needs to outweigh the benefits. When the horn is removed, it then gets taken to a vault guarded like Fort Knox, where the horns are simply left to rot. The majority of private game owners want the trade in rhino horn to be legalised. This is so that owning rhinos can be profitable and their conservation can be funded as a direct result of their survival. Prior attempts to convince the illegal markets and buyers that the horn has no medicinal value have failed. This belief has endured for 3,500 years, and it doesn't look like it's going to disappear anytime soon. Even Dr. Ian Player, the man chiefly responsible for white rhinos coming back from the brink of extinction, was an advocate for legalising the trade in rhino horn because he recognised that poaching for this horn is what's currently pushing rhinos back to the brink of extinction.